No, I think if anything, we should probably replace the people that think AI can replace us. I think those are the people that need to find a different job.
I know there was so much good stuff. I had to break this into two parts. So welcome to the second part of my interview with Odette. I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about the elephant in the room, as you say, AI. Everybody's talking about it. What are your thoughts on using AI in UX research?
Twofold a bit. One, I am absolutely obsessed with AI. I love it. And my husband the other day said, you talk to it more than you do me. So just to give a bit of an idea on how much I love AI. I tell him I love him more, but I talk to ChatGPT a lot more. And I use it for everything. I have built my entire wardrobe in AI, and so I ask it in the morning, what do I wear today based on the weather I'm going into the office, and it gives me options. 2, oh God, this entire project has come my way and it's way too much. How do I break it down? And so for me, and it also relates a bit to being neurodivergent, where when large things come your way and it can be overwhelming, I now sort of have this assistant in front of me that goes, no, don't worry, I'll break it down for you. And while it's not solving my issues or it's not doing my projects for me, it helps me think differently at times. On the other hand, there was a talk at the UX Insight Festival that you were very sad about not to attend, and hopefully you will next year. There was a talk there by Lindsay Dewitt-Pratt, and she was talking about AI and actually how it's been trained in only a few of the languages that exist in the world. And that was the overarching talk. Underneath it was the issues with AI that when you put shit in, I was allowed to swear on this podcast. I saw that.
Oh, yes.
You know, shit in, shit out. And so when you put garbage data in AI, you get garbage data out. And the more garbage you put in and put more on top of, the more crap you get out of it, right? And so what I've experienced in the last, because I think it's been like 2 years now where it's been more so used, I see many juniors or more tech-savvy people immediately jump on it because it's cool, it's flashy, it's going to do the work for me. But I also see, because they lack fundamental knowledge of UX, that you put shit in and you get shit out. And when you don't have that prior knowledge or that prior experience, you also can't assess if what comes out is actually good. And so the critical thinking aspect of, is this good enough, or what can or can't I use from what I'm getting here, that's missing. And so I love it and I use it a lot, but I also know that if it's used wrongly, or it's only going to make things harder later. Because then we're going to design crappy things, or we're going to think that a user said X because we didn't critically think about what we put in.
Right. Yeah. I think that's so key, the context, right? Do you understand the circumstances around why the answer might not be accurate? So let me ask you, when you're talking to GPT about your wardrobe, is it always right?
No, sometimes it makes up things that I have in my wardrobe that don't exist.
Really?
Or I told it recently that I threw out a pair of pants, and then the other day it suggested that I wear it. And I had to reiterate that that pair of pants doesn't exist anymore. And so even then, and I've trained it rigorously on every piece in my wardrobe, even then it still makes mistakes. But I know because the pair of pants doesn't exist in my wardrobe anymore. So I'm not standing in front of the wardrobe looking for it.
Right. Have you seen this in the workplace or any work where somebody pulled a piece of data out and you knew it was wrong and they didn't know?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
So this was, a more junior person in UX and experimenting, playing with AI because it would reduce stress, because it would do part of the work for that person. And they sent entire interview scripts into AI and said, basically synthesize this data and answer my research questions for me. And it did. And a report rolled out, and I was surprised at the speed that it was done, because they weren't that quick before. And then I started checking it, and I had, of course, help with the setup of the interview protocol and the research plan, and I was involved with all the stakeholder meetings. So I knew what the goals were and what they were trying to look for, or what they were trying to validate, as the PMs often use as their favorite word. And so when the answers, so to say, to the research questions came out, I was in doubt whether it was actually true, because it felt very much similar to what the PMs had said. And there's, of course, nothing wrong with that. It could be that they were indeed right, but it felt too close. And also, it was written in a way that I went, that doesn't seem like their writing style. And so I went, I'm going to check. I did a quick scan of the interview data, nothing too rigorous, just to see, okay, does it make sense? Because I also didn't want to spend too much time on it. And then found out that there were things said in the interviews that were never taken into account in the analysis, that the assumptions from PMs were sort of taken for granted, and that was what was looked for. And so, yeah, because it was just put in without proper guidance, without proper data, basically sending it, this is the task, and then critically thinking, is it actually correct? Or triangulating that data, yeah, it was assumed it was correct, and it actually sent out invalid data.
Wow. So the report did not go out, I assume.
No. That got stopped. Yeah, that got stopped, and it got taken back, and it got redone.
Yeah. I mean, it blows my mind, because I can see that happening. I can see it with my own research analysis. I did some pretty cut and dry research recently where I showed an email, and it was just, what are your calls to action here? What are your main takeaways? And it was an unmoderated interview, pretty standard questions, right? Nothing we needed to dive deeper into. And so I did my own analysis first, and then I used the tools AI analysis. And I was like, you fucking lied. There were multiple participants who said that. And I went through, like, one person said that. And it's such a teeny tiny little thing that, no.
Yeah. I was working on CSAT analysis, and I had about 4,000 responses that I needed to get through. And besides the numbers that I was checking for, like, frequencies to see what are the average scores on these flows, I'm a huge template nerd, so I built entire calculators in Excel, and all I had to do was put my numbers in Excel, and then it would calculate all of my frequencies. And it was color-coded, and it was shiny, and it was beautiful. And I went, I'm going to try and replicate that in AI. And I got completely different responses to it in terms of the frequency numbers. So it calculated wrongly as well.
Wow.
And so, yeah, I love it, but you need that critical thinking, that experience, that prior knowledge to actually know, is it correct what I'm getting out? Or like you said, basically you triangulated your own with AI, and you went, nah, wrong there. But if you don't know how to do it in the first place, then you can't assess if what comes out is good. And that's the danger of it. But it's so easy and addictive for people to, like, just quickly chuck it in there and you're done, you know?
I know. I get it. I get that feeling too. Like, I would love to do that. But I don't know. I have standards, and I don't want to make that up. I don't know. Every time I have an example like that where it just falls apart and crumbles, you're just like, oh my God, there is somebody else who's totally running with this crap.
Yeah.
And not checking it.
Yeah. And so here in the case of the example that I gave, this junior had a senior to actually make sure that the correct information came out. But there are so many companies that just hire one junior researcher, and you go do the research for us, and then that's what they use, and they use AI, and that there's no guidance, there's no assessment, there's no critical thinking, there's no teaching them. They just go with it and assume it's right. And I get why companies go, oh, AI can do it, because any cheap junior can use AI, and we've got all the insights we need. And it's not nice to see.
I know. So, Odette, is AI coming for the UX researcher job?
No.
Is it going to replace us?
No. I think, if anything, we should probably replace the people that think AI can replace us. I think those are the people that need to find a different job. But for us, no, because yeah, if you put shit in, shit comes out. And we're the ones with the experience and the knowledge. We know that if we're going to use it, how, and to critically assess whether it's actually correct. And sure, it saves time. And at my current job, we use it a lot for our processes. So not for doing the research, but actually automating parts of the processes, because that's mundane and boring anyway. So that's what AI should be doing for us. But actually doing the research, AI can't read body language, can't discern tone of voice, can't distinguish between different cultures and their gestures. So, like, if it can do all of that at some point really well, sure, I'll go sit at a tropical island and let AI do my job. But that's not happening anytime soon.
I wish. Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm ready for a cocktail and some sun. Let's do it.
Yeah.
But okay, I'm going to be a troublemaker here, Odette, and say, yes, that sounds all good. Get rid of the people that are saying, but the truth of the matter is, somebody hears a success story like, oh, you can throw this into AI, throw your transcripts in, it comes out, it's about 80% good enough, right? So get rid of the researchers. They take too long. Like, these decisions are being made. This is happening now based on anecdotes, false stories, maybe some success stories, but there's still a long way to go before AI is completely successful at doing the job, right? But the decisions are being made anyways. They're this close enough kind of mindset.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's hard and it's depressing. And I know that many of us are fighting the good fight by showing that it can be used in ways, but not to replace us. I went to the Chamber of Commerce as a fun example of me being the outsider in this situation to register my company. And of course, I had asked ChatGPT, what are the codes for this registration? What should it be registered under in terms of, like labels, basically. And so I went to the Chamber of Commerce and I said to this person, oh yeah, I already know this. Me thinking that I know it because I used AI. And I said, oh, it's these 3 codes. And she went, well, I've got 27 years of experience. I think I know the codes. And I went, okay, yeah, that hurts. And then I went, oh, people do that to us. And so I went, I should probably shut up. And then she said, but I'll fill in your codes and then you can see you're incorrect. And I went, yeah. And so she did. And she showed me that I was incorrect. And I was trying to talk my way out of it and be like, oh, I just tried to do my prep work a bit. And so that I knew what was going to happen maybe. And I felt so bad because that's what people do to us. But at least I was reflective enough to go like, yeah, you're right. You are the expert here. And I can do it, of course, because I like to know things. But, in that case, you trust the expert. And I think the people around us that go like, oh, but AI can do it, or AI can run the analysis, they should also trust that we know when to use it properly, because we are the ones with all the experience and all the knowledge. And sure, AI can read all of the books, but again, it doesn't have the right languages, the tone of voice reading, the body language, the cultural nuances. It doesn't have any of that.
Right. And it doesn't have the context within your company. It doesn't even know your research question, to be quite honest. Like, what's your big thing you're trying to learn?
Yeah.
Like, you can't say.
And even then, sure, why don't users use this form? It's still so vague. Like you said, that context part is still missing from that. So even if we were to go, here's the research plan and here's everything that comes out, still then we need to assess if it's actually the right data that we get back.
Right. I know.
Yeah, I don't think we need to tell each other this, but
it's just so frightening and scary how much it's happening. And I'm just like, wow, we have enough misinformation and lies out there already. Please don't put out any more.
I mean, how many times have you Googled, I have this symptom, and then Google says, you've probably got cancer. Like, I think I've had cancer 25 times in my life already because Google said, oh, you should get that checked. Because Google's not a doctor. AI is not a UX researcher either. There's years of experience there on both ends. We
That's
need
true.
to trust the experts. We can use AI, but it's not a replacement.
Yes. And I think, you said something earlier about shit in, shit out. But I think people are like, no, what I'm putting in is not shit because it is my transcripts, it's my work. I know it's all legit data. And okay, yes, but it's not taking into account all the other stuff that's been fed into the same machine.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, that because oftentimes, so similar with my wardrobe, right? It thinks my pants still exist. It sometimes makes up pants that I've never had. It's because it indeed uses everything it knows. And so even when I tell it, because I've been playing with this a lot, even when I tell it, only use the information I have given you in this specific chat, it still doesn't. It still
Wow.
uses the stuff outside of it. And yes, I can give it all my interview data. It is still going to make its own web of lies, basically, because it has its own bias, basically, from all the information that exists.
Right. I don't know how you felt, but I would have been so pissed off if it told me to put these pants on that didn't exist anymore.
But I actually went, oh, that's actually a great idea. I should probably buy those pants.
Well, okay, that's fair. It does, I will give you that. It does make you think, oh, I didn't think that way. It gives you a different perspective sometimes, right?
But still, you get to disagree and go, no, I'm going to do it my way because I think it's the better way in this situation. Like, even with input, I'm sometimes too lazy to type everything out because it's just so much. Like typing an essay, I do use the transcript a lot so I can just talk my thoughts to it. But then I have to check if it's actually taken my words because my English is pretty good, but sometimes for some reason it makes up words that I never said.
Oh,
But because of that, so, the voice to text, the writing, which you're too lazy to do, it's very much possible that you're not giving it the right context to give you the right answer. Like the pants.
it's so hard, right? We have so much in our brain. I can't tell you how many times I've said something to my husband and he gets it all wrong. And I'm like, dude, come on.
Yeah.
My brain.
Yeah. Husbands are just like AI.
Totally.
I should probably not tell him to listen to those ones.
Yeah, I'm lucky he probably won't. But maybe don't tell your not to watch that one or, fast forward through that part. Oh, that's so funny. I love it. You made me think I was doing this video. I'm testing AI all the time because everyone's loving it. I'm so contrary. I'm like, I don't know. Let me mess around with it. And so I did some desk research and I dumped all my analysis in there. I'd done my analysis in a digital whiteboard. So I copied all the stickies. What it didn't do was keep it in clusters. It just straight up data points, 700 of them. And I was like, well, fuck it. I'm not going to rearrange these into clusters now. I don't have
see what
time.
it does.
See what it does. And there were a couple generational, like Gen Z stats that had come from a report. And only one report and maybe 5 bullet points tops. But it made that a theme. And I was like, well, I'm not really one to focus on generations. I think that's stereotypical. But I was like, but I hadn't thought about the importance of that, right? My executives might really think about that being important, the generational breakdown. So it made me think, okay, I would not have surfaced this, but maybe somebody else would have found value in this because of the generational break aparts. So it did make me double think. Of course, I was like, no, I don't agree. So I threw it out. But I do appreciate it did stop me and give me something else to consider.
Yeah, but you're experienced enough to reflect on it and to go like, that's interesting. Let me think about that instead of just taking it as the full truth.
Exactly. Yeah, that's key. I think you're right about that. Yeah. So, Odette, you've hinted a couple times in our chat today about some templates and some things you're working on, the heuristic evaluation, which you need to get done by the end of today because I'm excited. Okay, I'm just kidding. I know it's late for you, so maybe tomorrow. Sorry, there's just so much good stuff here. I'm going to have to break this into another part. I'll see you over at the next installment of this interview with Odette. See you there.